Cross Lanes is a community just off Interstate 64, about 10 miles southwest of Charleston, West Virginia. It has one major shopping plaza with a Walmart, Target, many fast food and sit-down restaurants, as well as other gas stations near the exit route. Many of the housing and buildings appear to be well built within the last century with no major historical relics. The major interviewees have lived in the community within the past 10 years, and the only major change has been the building of a casino on the dog track at the south end. While driving through the community, we saw many middle-aged people at work, a few elderly people, and most of the children were in school. All ages were mostly Caucasian. The 2010 census supported our findings, which reported about 21% of the residents of 18 years or younger, 65% of the residents between the ages of 18 and 65, and 14% of the residents 65 or older. 92% of the residents are white non-Hispanic, with 5% black, 2% mixed, and about 1% Asian. The census also indicated that the percentage of females is slightly higher than males, and the estimated median household income in 2011 was $42,637, slightly above the U.S. average. The unemployment rate is 5.2% in residents older than 25, and the marital rate for this age group is 48%, while the divorce rate is about 15%. The crude death rate for West Virginia is 1,148 per 100,000 people. The infant mortality rate is 7.28 per 1,000 live births, slightly above the U.S. average. Heart disease, cancer, chronic lung diseases are the leading causes of death. The death rate for heart disease is 218, cancer 208, and chronic lung disease 64 per 100,000 people. A major contributing factor to the morbidity is diabetes mellitus, which accounts for 13% of the population. 69% of the residents are overweight or obese, while 35% are in the obese category. The incidence of cancer is 450 per 100,000 people. There are few signs of ethnic diversity other than a few Mexican restaurants like La Roca and Cozumel, as well as some Chinese restaurants. The majority of the value and belief system in Cross Lanes focuses on Protestant and the Christian faith. Most churches are well kept with small flower beds and landscaping, with a lack of large gardens, except for a large, well-kept cemetery with biblical sculptures and statues.
Cross Lanes is 6.49 square miles in size with an air quality index of 38.2. There are hardly any green areas because most forests have been cut down to build more houses and apartments. 393 of the residents are foreign-born, and there are 1,539 people per square mile. The most common natural disaster is flooding. Cross Lanes is an economically active community, and there is a small shopping plaza and 11 banks. People shop at many stores such as Walmart, Kroger, Lowe's, Goodwill, Dollar Tree, and many others. Most of the population is lower middle class. Most people get around Cross Lanes by driving their own cars. The major mode of public transportation is buses. People also ride their bikes and walk on the sidewalk. There is a volunteer fire department and garbage pickup once a week. There are neighborhood watch groups and many subdivisions. Currently, there aren't many signs of political activity, but during elections, there are many signs in the ground at citizens' homes and at the main city intersections. In 2012, 55% of the population voted Republican, 43% voted Democrat, while 2% were in the other category. There is no mayor or city council because it is the largest unincorporated city in West Virginia. There aren't many common areas where people can gather publicly, but most people tend to hang out at restaurants and shopping areas. The newspapers are typically the Charleston Gazette and the Charleston Daily Mail. People have radios and televisions, and communication is made through cell phones, email, Facebook, letters in the mail, and face-to-face. The only private school in the area is Cross Lanes Christian School, and it provides education from kindergarten through high school. Public schools include Cross Lanes Elementary, Point Harmony Elementary, and Andrew Jackson Middle School. The elementary schools have been awarded blue ribbons for education, and preschool is at the local YMCA. The nearest high schools are in Nitro and St. Albans, and Cross Lanes has its own public library. The only college education system in Cross Lanes is Everest Institute, and a school nurse goes to all the schools in the area, so she is not available at all times. There are a variety of sports activities available through the schools and in the community. The nearest Board of Education is in Charleston, Michigan. There are many places for recreation in Cross Lanes. All the elementary schools have playgrounds, and the middle school has a track, baseball field, football field, and basketball court. The Cross Lanes pool and tennis courts are private, so a membership fee is required, but they have a swim team with a winning reputation. There are 3 gyms that require membership to attend, including the YMCA, Nautilus, and Anytime Fitness. Most residents feel positive about their community. Most older residents feel that the community's strengths are the hospitality and neighborliness of the people. Most young adults appreciate the low crime rate and an environment conducive to raising a family. One negative is the lack of variety in activities for teenagers. Weaknesses of Cross Lanes are obesity, smoking, teen pregnancy, overcrowdedness, and too many fast food restaurants. The strengths of Cross Lanes are a good education system, urgent care, and close proximity to major hospitals in Charleston. The first diagnosis we made for this community was imbalanced nutrition, more than body requirements related to intake of nutrients that exceed metabolic needs, as evidenced by a large amount of population being obese. The major goal for our priority diagnosis was that community members will develop an eating and exercise plan to follow within 1 week. The medium priority diagnosis for this community was ineffective health maintenance related to lack of familiarity with community resources, as evidenced by high rates of diabetes mellitus and increased reports of sedentary activity from community members. The goals for this diagnosis were 70% of community members will report exercising at least 1 hour 3 times per week within 3 months, and that community members will report better control over their diabetic regimen within 3 months. Our 2 nursing diagnoses are priorities for Cross Lanes because obesity and unfamiliarity with available resources are major health concerns for this area. Our client overall goal was that community members will list 3 ways to lose weight and maintain it. Our client objectives are: community members will make a list of what they typically eat for each meal every day. Community members will make a list of how they exercise, how much they exercise daily. And community members will discuss ways they believe they can change their lifestyle.
The outline for this teaching plan consists of weight loss and control by a diet high in fiber, low in fat, low in sugar with complex carbohydrates, and is also low calorie. The exercise regimen should start off with low impact exercises like walking and swimming, and progress to high impact exercises like running and lifting weights. They are also recommended to keep a food diary to help keep track of progress. Our first Healthy People 2020 objective is to reduce the proportion of persons who are unable to obtain or delay in obtaining necessary medical care. 4.7% of all persons were unable to obtain or delay in obtaining necessary medical care in 2007. Our target is 4.2%, which is a 10% improvement. Our second Healthy People 2020 objective is to increase the proportion of adults who are at a healthy weight. 30.8% of persons aged 20 years and older were at a healthy weight from 2005 to 2008. Our target is 33.9%, which is a 10% improvement. The first research article implemented in our community assessment was from the British Journal of Community Nursing, and it was titled Public Health and Obesity, the Role of the District Nurse. This applies to Cross Lanes because Cross Lanes has a high rate of obesity and diabetes, contributing to the number 1 killer, which is heart disease. Our second research article was also published from the British Journal of Community Nursing, and it was the health impact of smoking and smoking cessation strategies of the current evidence. This affects Cross Lanes because 28.6% of Cross Lane people smoke.